acquiring property for the future. But the main priority of the committee was to improve the existing facilities.
Little water parking there.
Yes, sir. That was one of the specific recreational facility was recommended. They call it splash park or water recreation park ground.
So this here is just an update?
That's an update. We have the bottom part, you have the report on the actual elements of the park. We have completed the citizen participation and citizen input. We have completed the park process. That was the most important element. We have completed the basic report. The report has different phases. One is the data collection, the other is the analysis of the data, and the other is the text preparation. We have completed that. The only thing that we are missing is the finalizing publication of the report. The report, I said report because this is not a map, it's not a drawing like the one you were showing for the YMCA. This is a booklet, a report that has all these sections and it has graphics and it's presented in a three-ring binder required by President Obama.
Okay, so this is just to move forward with this master plan, right?
Yes, sir.
Move forward.
The issue tonight is that the climate plan to be adopted by this city for the state to recognize as fit. So there are different options to do that. One is for you to approve adoption, continue on having the report delivered to you before the deadline. The deadline is always the second. The other one, no, I really would like to special meeting just to review and update the report. And the other is for the mayor to sign the resolution and then bring it at the next council meeting.
Okay, you got this, I have to cut you off, but we need to move forward better, yes? We'll go ahead and look at that. Do I, any questions on that, guys, Council? Any questions for Mr. Polino? No? Okay, do I hear a motion? Motion made by Councilmember Roy Trevino to adopt the Kershaw Park Recreational Space Master Plan submitted by Carlos Corina Vargas, AICP and Associates, and seconded by Councilman James Leon. Any further concerns, questions, comments? All in favor? Motion carries unanimous. That's okay. There were 4, 5, 4, and 1 against. Vote against was Councilmember Michael. All right.
Thank you, Mayor Cavazos. Thank you, council members. And if you have any idea, let us know. Okay, sure will. Check with the federal, with this. You want to do something, give me any recommendations. And with the public too, if somebody has any idea, I want to.
Yeah, the public can always come in and join us in those committee deals and respect. We'll come in and do those, look into those items. Thanks, sir. Okay. All right. I know it's taking a little long, audience, but at least a little respect, all right? I know it's not everybody, there's some. They're doing rodeo signs and all that. We'll follow it right. We'll try to do it. So moving on to item G. Okay, discussion, consideration, action for amending ordinance number 2014-03-01 to approve amounts of surety bond coverage for the city manager, finance director, and other selected employees of the city of Kershaw. And it is an action item. Okay, City Manager?
Go ahead.
Notice?
I'll take that item. The ordinance here, the reason for the amendment, a couple areas
council on March 18th. It's an ordinance number, and if you look at the bottom on section 2, you call for ordinance, and then at the bottom it talks about resolution. That's one of the reasons on that. The agenda item that was presented had to do with just setting an amount for the bond for the city manager, approving and setting the required amount. It had nothing to do with establishing a company, section 1, CNA surety. The amounts, 300,000, we had this on February 11th, and it was presented to the council as a resolution first, and that was tabled. The resolution called for, you want to write the numbers down besides, I'll go down in order. For the city manager, it called for 500,000, the resolution.
When was this resolution?
2/11, February 11th, and it was tabled. It was presented as a resolution, and my recommendation was that it should be an ordinance, to set an amount. 500,000 for the city manager, Jose G. Trevino, interim, it said city manager, he was the interim at the time. For director of finance, Jose Alvarez, 750,000. Estrellita Ballesteros, the city clerk, 300,000. All accounts payable, payroll clerk and assistant, 250,000. And then the last two, 5 and 6, they stayed the same. They were the same at 100,000. We tabled that on February 11th, brought it back on March 18th. The amounts, with no input from the council, the amounts went down. And you can see the amounts as they're on this ordinance. The resolution is stated at the bottom, resolution in full force, but at the top is an ordinance. Even the minutes that the council approved, the minutes were to approve the resolution number 2014-0205. That was a resolution in February. So there was never approving the ordinance. The other situation was that the ordinance was never published. Okay? Section 1306 of your charter, the passage of the ordinance and the publication, at least twice in newspaper, is all that's required to make it valid and effective. This is not valid, it's not effective. Never been published.
When I first came in as city clerk, your city manager, Trevino, and Xavier, us three, we sat in that conference room, went through the charter. We found 2 different sections stating about publishing ordinances. One section states that all of them, another section states that just ones that have to do with fees, so and so forth, traffic violations.
Section 1303, every ordinance imposing a penalty, fine, imprisonment, or forfeiture shall be published at least twice. At the bottom of that section 1303, all the ordinances shall be published twice. And then 1306 says to be effective, they got to be passed and published. There's no publication. I mean, I checked all the past editions of the current, and it was never published, so it's not effective. You want to amend the council, you want to amend the amounts, that's the council. This is the first time we had an agenda item that actually addressed bonds. And not only for the city manager, but for others elected. And it's in the charter. In fact, the bond for the city manager, the city council shall require the city manager before entering the duties to obtain a bond. Okay? The bond in a reasonable amount as the council may demand. It had never been, I think the handout was passed out to you. A few city managers passed a bond. I was city attorney, I started in 95, from 95 to 2006. So those city managers that had a $10,000 bond, you can look at the agendas. We never had an agenda item saying we need to set a $10,000 bond for the city manager. They went out, none of those city managers got bonded before they started the duty. They went out and got bonded during the term. It seems that the council or the city has established $10,000 as a reasonable amount. You know, that's up to the council, whatever amount you want. But with the resolution, 500,000, 300,000, the amounts were ridiculous. They were high. The average bond for the city, for county officials is about $5,000. My bond is $2,500 as Frisco County Attorney. The DA's bond is $5,000, he covers 5 counties. Judge's bond is $5,000. There's some offices, because they collect a lot of fines and it goes on a percentage. I know Mr. Rudy Alvarez was at the auditor's office and it said something like 5,000 up to 10,000, but there was money and his bond was probably higher. I asked Ana Hernandez, the treasurer, she had a 50,000 and 150,000 bond. What is reasonable? What was your bond, Rudy?
It was 250,000.
250,000.
And then I have to have a separate one for the police program, which was 80,000.
And then we had the CEOs also.
Mayor, Councilman, thank you, Council, for that briefing. What I just heard earlier is that, you know, we want to save the city, the taxpayers, money. What we're looking into right now is the cost. The city has already set a precedent of city managers getting bonded at a reasonable amount. If we go and for whatever reason Mr. Trevino was thinking about bonding, he's to me, he's sending a wrong message to city employees that they cannot be trusted. Why would he do that? Why all of a sudden in the history of Pearsall, does he want all these city employees to be bonded at such a high amount? And secondly, it's about cost. We looked at, I called bonding companies. For a $300,000 bond, it's $1,000 a year. Okay? And then if you go down there, it's $5,000 for everybody. $5,000 in 5 years is $25,000. Why do we want to spend $25,000 on something that is not even reasonable and sending a wrong message to the employees? Council, you took an obligation to save the taxpayer money and to work with the employees. What kind of message are we sending if we set a bond so high for these employees? Now, Judge Luna is here. He can probably expand on that. Another thing is if you look, and some of you have been on the previous council before, on some of these city managers, and look at all the zeros. Jose Trevino, 2013 and 2014, amount of bond, 0. And all this information was gathered through a public information request and verified by the clerk that these numbers are correct. Robert Elias, 2013, 0. Kathleen Taylor, 2013, 0. 0 bond. Florencio Salceda, 0 bond. Ruben Frausto, 0 bond. Alfredo Este, 0 bond. Third, I'm going to tell the council the city manager does not reconcile any bank statements. The city manager does not handle any money. And the city manager doesn't sign checks for the city. You know, some of the employees are coming to me saying, why do I have to be bonded all of a sudden? We have our utilities clerk that has served the city loyally, dedicated, and trustworthy for over 40 years. And now we want to bond her? We have our accounts payable clerk that has served the city loyally, committed, and trustworthy for over 30 years. And now we want to bond her? It's a matter of doing the right thing for the city. We already set a precedent of 10,000, and council, let's do the right thing.
Did you sign contracts?
Do I sign contracts? Yes.
There was an instance down close by Kingsville where an employee of the city embezzled $750,000. She was not bondable, and they chose to employ her because she was not bonded. The city was unable to recuperate any of that. If she would have been bonded, then the bond would have covered her actions.
And council,
Just because in the past things were done doesn't make it right in the future.
and I agree with that. But you as a city council member in the past these terms were sitting on there, entrusted by the charter to do the right thing, to follow the rule, to follow it. Now, this isolated incident that you're mentioning, county government, city government, state government, we have checks and balances. We have checks and balances. If one clerk, if somebody is stealing and we don't catch it, then somebody's not doing their job. Very simple. In the history of Pearsall, no one has stolen from the city of Pearsall, and I don't think anybody else, anybody's going to steal from them.
Resolution 2014-0301 brought to the council back in March of 2014. Was this an attempt to bond everybody?
I want to say there's already an ordinance, isn't there?
It's not effective. You didn't do what it said.
Why was
It
this
was
brought
passed,
up?
but it wasn't published.
No, I'm asking to this.
Why was it brought up to the attention of the council? Why was it, I mean, why do we?
This is the first time it was brought up by the interim city manager. Nobody has ever been bonded of the other city employees.
Who came up with the 300, these two resolutions?
That was all input by the interim city manager. There was no input from the council.
Did he input this because he thought it was good for the community, or he just?
I have no idea, you have to ask him. But 750,000 for director of finance in February, and a month and a half later, it goes down to 300,000. These amounts were more like, in my comment to the council, they're more like in the line of the performance and payment bonds that the companies have to do. I mean, they're excessive amounts.
Well, apparently previous council felt that it was for a good cause because they approved it unanimously, right?
Not to bond the previous city manager?
No, I'm saying
This resolution?
this resolution.
The resolution, I think there was one council member that was absent. Maybe Alex was absent.
You said you were asking.
Yes, she was.
But the previous city manager thought this was a good idea and felt it strongly enough to bring it forward before the council, correct?
The bond's a good idea, it's in the charter, it's required, it's required. Now, why haven't we insisted on a bond for the other city managers? That's the question you should be asking. The bond amount is up to the council. You want to set an amount, the other problem with that, I wouldn't put an amount to a specific person. Because today you can have one city manager, tomorrow you have somebody else. Finance director, it wouldn't be specific, it would be to the office. But those amounts are excessive. I mean, you can't agree they're excessive.
My thoughts, excuse me, Councilman. My thoughts on the matter are, yes, we do need surety bonds, because yes, it's part of our charter. We've always followed our charter, and I've always, when I was a mayor, I wanted to do the charter, followed it to the T, that we needed to do it. If it says yes, we need a surety bond, we need a surety bond. There's nothing behind that. Okay, now, as far as the amounts, now I can attest that when I was mayor, I really did have a surety bond. I didn't see it on the list, but we did have one.
I believe he had one in 2008.
Yeah.
This is at the interim.
2000,
Yeah. After that ordinance was approved in March, nobody's been monitored.
Okay. Now, the amounts, 10,000, I was doing some research and looking at everything, looking at all this. Now, surety bonds, of course, you know, it's about trust, faith, you know, it's just like our insurances and anything. We hope our house never gets burned. Sometimes it does. We hope we never have a crash, sometimes. You know, it's something to protect us. And it's just because, it's not because we don't trust anybody. You know, with all due respect to others, not we don't, you know, trust anybody. We trust them. But if it does happen, we have a little surety. We have a little something backing us up that will help us out. Now, yes, the amounts have to be big, they could be excessive. Now, the only thing that I can see, the $10,000 amounts that date back from the 80s to 2000 or something like that. What I was thinking about all this, and, you know, when you're retired, you got a lot of time to think about stuff, you know. So I'm thinking about all this and going through all this in my mind and all this, what to deal with. Well, we're at a lot higher vulnerability rate at this point than what we were back in 2000 or back in 88. I mean, with all this mess of stuff that we have around here, it's just like, with all due respect, if you do have a Volkswagen, say, have a Volkswagen, I go to a Cadillac, they're not going to insure me for a Volkswagen. They're not going to do that. You know, so I'm all for having a surety bond. Charter says yes. Now, as far as the amount, maybe yes, maybe 500,000 or 300,000 is a little bit too steep. But I do really want to continue to have a surety bond, just as a safety net that we all have in all our lives that we have. And that's what I really want to propose. Now, as far as the amounts, you know, if we look at, say, here's the 300,000 that Mr. Pavilion proposed, right? Well, you said it was $1,000 a year for each one of those, total of 25,000?
A total of 5,000 a year.
Per year, 5,000 per year.
I'll do more insurance on my.
Man, it's hard to go over my
I have a
house.
question.
You know,
You said
Okay,
that-
now, I'll go just one comment, that's it. We can't wait to keep going.
No, mine's just a question.
Go ahead.
You guys, they said they proposed these $5,750,000 on February 11th. Then you came back and said on March 18th, they proposed different amounts and you went lower. What were they? Just for the record.
300,
300 for who?
city manager,
Uh-huh.
300 finance director, 100 for clerk,
Uh-huh.
150 for payroll, 100 for utility, 100 for municipal.
And now, in Mr. Alvarez's finance director's case, I know he's going to be having a lot more, I trust him. I trust him, don't take me wrong, Mr. Alvarez, I trust him.
No, this is insurance.
Yes, it's insurance, it's insurance.
It's
And,
just
you
part
know,
of the
if I
business.
remember correctly, you can, if you go wrong, when I was mayor, I think our hotel tax was maybe 67,000. I think, if I remember correctly, I was trying to think back, go back to my records and all that. And, what are we looking at now? Over $1 million? Maybe more. Right, am I correct?
Not yet.
Not yet, but it's in the projection.
Last year, we were like 750,000.
150,000, 70,000, so that's a lot of money that's gonna go to his hand, and it might not be here, somebody might turn, somebody might crash. It's just a saving. It's just a saving, I mean, we don't have to vote. It's just a little saving.
People don't stay that long to get about.
But we gotta get stuff. It goes.
But this would also ensure that in case you made a mistake, right? It would also not only protect the city, but it would protect you as an individual. Is that
Well,
correct?
it protects mostly against, stealing, but if it, I think it's also, if I make a mistake that costs the
Correct,
city
correct.
money.
It's an insurance, in case of.
So can we go back and look at some figures, more reasonable figures, maybe not for 300,000, maybe not for
I mean,
500,000?
the charge is,
But not for 10,000, I mean, we're not better than
I mean,
10,000.
whatever council as a group, as a body, we deems it reasonable.
I can poll city in our similar size and budget wise, and I can bring it back and tell you exactly how much, what they're doing and versus what we should be doing.
Because I see Mr. Alvarez as a 300,000, I think worth all 300, he's gonna need to, because he's spent a lot of money
I mentioned
this
something
coming year in the next few years.
I
Maybe
mentioned
since
something-
I don't have as much, maybe we put down on.
Right, because he reconciles and,
Yeah.
yeah, and
You know, something, but, you know, we need to keep on it. We got.
Yeah, whatever amount the city pays for it.
Yeah, we're still paying for
It's
it.
in the charge.
I imagine somebody put some time and effort to come up with these numbers, they just didn't. Can we get figures on both of these resolutions, 2014-0201 and 2014-0301? I mean, they're both, you know, whether we choose one or the other, but can we get quotes on both of these or numbers on these?
You know, well, I mean, those are reasonable numbers that are here on this one, that's not a legal ordinance or whatever, you know, it's just, maybe, you know, he doesn't have money like Mr. Alvarez handles here,
On this other one?
or even the other ones down there at the bottom, but he's covered.
What you need to do is amend and come up with a reasonable amount, and change the amount here, and just be specific.
I personally, I would have to say I agree with you, Mr. Cavazos, on the 300, those sound like reasonable numbers. That's which way you were moving towards.
Financial director.
No, I was kind of looking at that, but I think the financial director, you know, he does, I think he might be more. Maybe keep him at 300 and see what figures we got at 200 for the city manager, or what's the money to the next? Take the money, who takes the money to the next? That's another question, I don't know. They don't know, maybe they are.
it's not the city manager.
Not the city
It's
manager.
either Mary or
See, that's the accounts payable clerk and the, all those, and he's gotta go for that, some finances. Let's look at some numbers, Councilman, I think we need to look at some numbers, more reasonable numbers, and see what, definitely we do have to be, I would think we would have to, be assured that bonded, to have the safe net over us, just a matter of what we think is gonna be, the right amount, unless we think 325,000 is good.
County tax, county tax assessor collector was no more than $100,000. We had an incident, and you guys are aware of the incident. He was bonded for $50,000, and getting to Councilman Diallo's comment on this stuff. Yeah, it's liable, but they're just going to pay for the amount of the bond. The county recovered that money, just for the amount of the bond. But there's a lot of money.
How much was that, Hector, that incident? How much was the total of that incident?
It was over 400,000, and he was bonded for 50,000. But our bond guidelines say not to exceed 100,000 for the county, from 2,500 to 100,000. And those are county, those are elected officials. Most of the guys here, they're employees, they're appointed officials. So, whatever amount you guys want on that stuff, the city pays for it, but 100,000 would be reasonable. And like I said, it's never been, we're going 10 times over the 10,000 that the city has set a precedent at. 100,000 for city manager, 100,000 for, and it's all an insurance for wrongful acts. It only clicks in and it's a wrongful act. It's a form of insurance.
Why would these overlooked?
That's the city council as a body. The charter was there. In fact, the last one right there, Andres Garza, that was prior to the charter. The charter didn't go into effect in '94. It's just the council, for whatever reason, looked the other way. The charter provision was there. Has the council made a demand on a bond? We haven't made a demand.
Without a bond.
Right. There was never a demand. We never said a reasonable amount. This is a good idea, to have a reasonable amount, but do it specific to the department. I think the clerks are excessive at those amounts, $150,000, $100,000. They're excessive.
The council might have not demanded it, but the city charter demanded it.
Right. The charter, yeah. I mean, it's what I say about the charter is selective enforcement. When you guys wanted to do it, you look at the charter, oh, there's a section 608, there's a bond for the city manager. But, the last 6 years, they haven't been bonded.
Do you think this, do you think the number maybe look back at it?
I want to make a motion to bond the city manager for 2,000. And the other was
And open up the motion.
That's my motion.
Any
That's my
other
motion.
comments?
Okay, motion has to go forward to bond city manager for $10,000. But now with this, excuse me, I'm sorry. But this ordinance could it be effective since it's not been publicized or anything, or?
Will be effective. It's not effective yet. What we want to do is change the amount that the council wants to do. Change the amount. And change the terminology there. You've got ordinance at the top and resolution at the bottom.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. We got to publish it twice.
Okay. Okay, excuse me, Councilman. Motion's on the table to bond the city manager at amend the amount of city manager for 10,000. Just city manager, anything else?
Yeah, that's the rest of it. I recommend you look at all of
Recommend
them.
10,000 for all of them, or just the city manager?
Just the city manager.
Just-
Like Mr. Alvarez, I can see. He handles more money than anybody else.
Well, actually, I don't handle any money, but
So, do we need to maybe wait up on this and come up with some concrete figures?
Yeah, the motion is, yes, he has a motion.
Yeah, but I'm just, before we. So, okay, motion's on there, to bond the city manager only, at $10,000 at this point. Do I hear a second? Seconded by, Maggie Alisa. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, all against? 3? So I'll break the tie. I think we need to wait. I think we need to look at it specifically. Not about one or the other. But I think we need to wait to be able to look at it specifically, what would be a right amount. That way we can come out with figures
Or
for
you can come up
everybody.
with a different amount.
Of those, for everybody. Okay, 10,000 here, 20,000 here, and just do it right, just do it all the time. And, can we,
Mayor, under your direction, I will poll similar
Yes.
cities,
yeah.
overall charter cities
Good.
within the same population and maybe the same activity we have for our east.
Budget and all that, it's kind of
And
similar.
I'll bring it back.
Get an idea of what's, I think that's the way we need to.
Well, I don't think we should go on based off someone else. I think we need to set.
No, yeah, of course, just to have an idea of where, and we say, we are a little bit bigger now as far as economy, as far as that, or the wall around us, and we can make the best. But we can come up with some figures, I think we will make a more wiser and more educated decision. With all due respect.
But there are no vote for.
That was, against. It was three tied, it was three against, and, excuse me. There was three that voted for and four that voted against. Okay. Very good. We cleared that up. All right, so we move on. Let's go. Any score for the win? Meeting is adjourned. No. Moving on to item, what do we got? Section H. Okay, section H, discussion, consideration, action on city manager compliance with section 6.08 of the personal data charter.
That is item I placed, I and along with two others placed on the agenda. It's actually in compliance with the bond of the city manager. And it clearly states on there that before entering office, the duties of office, that he should be bonded, he obtain a bond, or a surety company licensed to conduct business in the state of Texas. So, I personally feel that he should not be city manager until he's bonded. That's what our charter states, and we said earlier, you want to follow
Can
the
you,
charter.
Yeah.
If
If you look at the list here, none of those, even the ones that had the $10,000 bond, never got it before they took the duties. The last 6 didn't have it at all.
Right.
And they served, not only served, they served the city. Okay, respect, no. They not only served, but they also served the city.
and then when the charter said we needed,
Does it make it right?
it wasn't there.
No.
Somewhere, somehow, the ball dropped, but,
And the issue
yeah,
goes
no
back,
control over that, we have control over what we got right now.
and the issue goes back, has the city, as the charter requires, has the city made a demand for a bond, and has the city set an amount? We just defeated the amount that was recommended.
Yeah.
No, we're on the,
I mean, that's the charter.
So do we follow the charter exactly as it states, or do we?
Selective enforcement, I always called it.
But Councilman, as a whole, I mean, if that's the case, then Mr. Adler won't be bonded either, and all the other, the county mayors and all that wouldn't be bonded, so they wouldn't work?
no, it only states city manager. Every other employee can work on bond. The city manager is the only one.
No, there's another one that says before he enters the office.
You know, look at the line. See, it's still paid for it.
Yeah.
Before anything else, that's first.
2014.
14. Read it out loud.
Bonds of any city official, employee, or department director. In addition to the bonding provision provided herein, the city council may require any city official, department director, or city employee before entering upon such person's duty to execute a good and sufficient bond with a surety.
It didn't say,
Yeah, it's all, the charter going back in that section, I don't know what that is, you know.
Actually, 608, it doesn't say anything.
608, the city council shall require the city manager. Okay, the issue is, has the city council required the city manager to have a bond? It wasn't in his contract. Have we required it to have a bond? No. You're reading the charter. Okay, have we set a reasonable amount? No. We tried
but
in March,
it states before entering office.
right? Shall
Are
require.
we going to continue to break the charter?
Well, I mean, here it is. We continued all
And
along.
once again, that's what
Right,
it has.
right.
To make it right.
Councilman, yeah, you were a member of the council when three of
And
those
I'll
guys.
admit, that was wrongdoing by not requiring it.
And let's do the right thing.
Yes, by the way,
Mr.
the last three city managers have sued the city, and, you know, we let them get away with everything they could. But for the record, council, mayor, I am bonded. I do have a Texas official bond, by a CNA company, by Western Insurance, effective Friday. So I am bonded.
For 10,000?
So I am bonded.
For 10,000? I'm asking that question.
The amount of the bond is $10,000.
Isn't that to be said by city council?
It's supposed to be said by city council.
Well, Councilman Diaga said that I wasn't bonded. I'm telling him I am bonded. So, I mean, we can increase it.
Yeah, so what we need to do is,
Once we get all that information, Mayor, and I think you have a good idea, once we get all that information,
we need to move forward. I mean, there's a lot of things that our city is stacked up right now that we need to move forward. I think we're going in the right direction. I think, you know, notice all this going around, all this, let's hit 10,000. Let's come back with some set figures. Let's come back with set figures. We want to meet next week, let's meet next week, let's meet Monday, let's meet Tuesday. Let's come back. And let's set the figures straight and let's move forward. Let's go, you know, we can increase it up to 300,000, whatever it is, or whatever we want to put there. You know, everybody should agree with that. You know, I don't know what, on this, particular agenda item, you know, consider action in the city manager compliance, section 608, compliance, is fine.
Well,
Security bond. We just take no action.
well, I'll go ahead and make a motion to place on administrative leave.
That's not on the agenda.
It takes action right
and then
now.
I'll submit the report.
But not to do that.
That's the way it works.
Discuss and consider take action on city manager compliance with 608.
We're on letter H.
We're on letter H. We're on letter the action to the city manager compliance section. Yeah, we already went through the other one.
And 608. 608 talks about shall require the city manager to be bonded. And I think he stated to you guys that he's bonded for $10,000.
But not at the demand of the city council. We did not set the amount. So my motion is to place on administrative leave till we set the amount and council approves the amount.
We'll second that motion, we follow the charter as stated.
Hey, motion's on the table.
Administrative leave without pay.
Take,
Till 608 is fully in compliance.
take action on the city manager compliance with section 6.08 of the personal city charter until it is, in compliance with the mandate, not mandate, but the, set so by the city council.
Can we legally do that?
That's not what the action, agenda item calls for. It calls for compliance with that, and all it calls for is does he have a bond? That's what it's asking.
But is it fully in compliance?
He's telling you he's got a bond.
Is it fully in compliance with
Texas
608?
official bond.
It's a bond
Who
requirement.
set the amount?
President.
The president or the previous. And I go back to that, has the council
There's a
required
motion,
a bond?
there's a second.
Hey, Joanna, there's a motion approved. There was a question. There was a question. Do I hear, it was a second by Councilman Manuel Martinez. All in favor? There's two. All against? 4 against. 2 for. Okay, so what we'll do is just let's look at some numbers and just, you know,
I'll bring before.
yeah, bring some numbers and see what's justifiable for us to get up to what we need. We need to get, you know, stand for. Okay, moving on. Consideration of possible action on the nomination and appointment.
May I raise a point of order?
Yeah, I'm already going, Rich. Sorry about that.
Point of order on what y'all just did. You did not address that line item. Mr. Alvarez stated he has
No, I
He's
just said
prepared
this
to
item,
present
the agenda item.
documentation that he says he's got it. But is he prepared to present documentation
Yeah,
to the council to prove he's got it?
according to the agenda item, yes, it was stated, I stated exactly. Thank you, sir. Okay. Consideration of possible action on nomination and appointment of citizens to serve on the Personal Ethics Commission. And I think on what is it that we have on the Ethics Commission, terms of, you want that, Mr. Attorney?
Ethics, I think we're missing, no, we need 7 members.
We need 7 members.
Yeah, we have 4.
We have 4.
We have 3 more. But we approved, letter I issued in conjunction with Jay, in compliance with the policies and procedures that were approved. Okay, what the council can do is take nominations and then we'll appoint them.
Okay, so, as far as this action item is to approve new members completely, you got new members, 7, what you said, what, 7 members?
We need 7.
7
We have
members.
4.
We got 4.
Right. And we need 3 more.
Well, we can, how long have those 4 been in the Ethics Commission?
They just got appointed in 11, I believe.
How many of them carried over?
Let's see.
The 2-year limit?
Okay.
It's
Um,
2-year term.
The last term they were reappointed was, this is on the ethics, was 7/12 of 2011. They can serve 2-year terms, 3 2-year terms.
Do we have the names of those gentlemen?
We have Gloria Gurriel, Richard Cantu, Carol Taylor, and Jimmy Montemayor. And they were all reappointed on that date.
So they've been serving since what date?
2011?
Since then, they
Prior
were
to that.
reappointed. No, prior to that, they had expired. So then they got
Prior to that,
reappointed. They asked the existing council members that they wanted to continue, and they got reappointed. So they've been appointed since 11.
They were carried over.
They started over. It was that. Some of us were appointed in 2000. In 2000, their term had expired. 2005, their terms had expired. All of them had expired. So they asked if they wanted to be reappointed.
They asked them again to reappoint.
Right. So they started the reappointment.
Can I pass these up as a pass out to the last meeting?
Yeah, correct. Where it
Yeah.
says all board members,
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, we all.
Yeah, the black ones, I don't have the names on that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. This is the ethics.
The ethics, we're looking at ethics.
Priority to appoint, who's writing the board, appoint new members. So let me ask you this. Okay, this question, who's writing this at the bottom? Who wrote?
This
That's the interim.
expired, yeah, for us to do.
There's 3, okay. So the board, position terms have expired, each appoint up to remember. Now, you do say that they were reappointed though?
They were reappointed in 7/12 of 2011.
and who wrote this?
The bottom on the bottom?
Yeah.
The right on the bottom?
So they were appointed in 2011.
11. They can serve 3 2-year terms.
They can serve 3 2-year terms.
Right. They're holdover right now to their 2-year terms.
Okay.
So we got Gloria, Richard, Carol, and Jimmy Montemayor. The other 3 were also appointed, all of them were appointed 7/12. It was Delia Mendez, Monica Frasco, and Arturo Garcia, and they all resigned. They were all appointed the same day. All 7.
Do we have any,
We got 3 vacancies. Now, as per the resolutions that we approved, the policies and procedures, what you can do is take nominations, and then they can come in and fill out an application, and then the council will appoint their decision on the next. Because they had PNC, or the Ethics Commission, they had 2 people present fighting. for the meeting, couldn't have a quorum. Gloria and Carol were here.
Go ahead, Carol, here.
Right.
So,
I mean, 4 that are on the board right now is enough for a quorum.
yeah. We need
Now,
seven.
the applications that Mr. Lozano was referring to, I believe were drafted by Mr. Ferrino. You don't have
What?
those applications.
I know you guys don't have a lot of stuff. I have the documents, I keep the stuff.
We have some applications?
No, the applications?
the
No. She was supposed to draft the applications. We'll help her. We'll draft it. I think the city manager said he was gonna do them.
And yes, I have. I've been doing my job and more than my job. I do have an application for the boards and commissions. It's a very simple application. And it talks about the basic information, name, address, date of birth, Social Security. Does talk about education and also included military history in case any of the board or commission members do have some military history, they can put it down. It talks about, one of the questions says if they've ever been convicted of a felony, to answer it truthfully. But basically, it's a simple application, 2 pages.
Unless you guys have a nomination for the commission, okay? Okay, then one more question to clear. Because according to the paper that you gave, it says all board position terms have expired. They need to reappoint and or appoint new members. So like, with respect to Ms. Gurria is here, she was reappointed now. Can she be?
Right now, she can serve, she's on a second term, from 7, 12, or 11 to 13, and then 15. So she's on a second
You
term.
wanted to continue?
And what we did was we asked the fire, because she was originally appointed in 2000.
Okay.
Rosa Gilman was appointed in 2003. Sylvia Patterson, 2000. Delia Mendes, 2005. Monica, 2005. Orfea Leman, 2005. Katie Grant, 2005. Those were what Pedro was talking about. Those terms have expired. Then in 2011, the city appointed all 7 members. But 3 resigned. So we're down to 4. So we need 3. We need 3 nominations for that. They can fill out an application.
Was Pepe Mess live whenever he wrote this down here?
He wrote this down. I don't know what he was looking at. But this is, I mean, this is the day when they were appointed. 7, 12, 11. It was item 9G.
Okay.
Whatever council meeting that was.
So clear on this, when does the new reappointment begin? Or the new nomination reappointment? September, you said, or what is it?
On this one, as per the policies,
Yes.
if you look at the policies, because it's in your packet, they can apply, even the incumbent members, they can apply for reappointment, and I think it's July. Let's see, one of those we missed it. We passed this in November, it was approved by the council in November. Okay. New appointees, they have a July 31st deadline.
July 31st.
Right.
It's actually a new central thing at
Right.
August. And then-
So, like Ms. Gurria, can she
Certain on there, it says current members wanting to be reappointed to
Right.
their current board commission must submit a request for reappointment
Prior to.
to the city secretary prior to May 31st. If a current member would like to be considered for appointment to a different board, they will need to submit a new application.
May 31st, August, so late.
We passed it in November. So, the current members, like the ethics, like the planning and zoning commission. Yeah.
We give them a nominate for,
I would like to, well,
because we don't actually,
All you gotta do is nominate, they have to fill out an
Have it
application.
applied.
Right.
Okay, so we'll take nominations.
nominations.
I'd like to nominate Ruben Trevino to serve on the planning and zoning.
Oh, that's gonna be the next
Okay.
ethics.
Anybody else in the nomination?
Follow your script.
Stephen Williams, the ethics.
I'll go ahead and nominate Rhonda Shelton, Erica Gutierrez.
One nomination, just one nomination from each one.
On the Shelton.
We have another, Erica Gutierrez. How many do we need?
3. Let's get one from each. They have to apply for it, so let's get one from each council member. And then they can- we have a pool. We can have a pool of them. So they're good for 1 year.
Because the way it just came out, they have to reapply.
Still gonna reapply, yeah.
Right. The incumbents are gonna reapply.
Does it say somewhere in the charter that you can only nominate one? I got one more than I want to nominate.
Get one of your buddies to nominate for you.
I want to nominate.
Erica nominated by Alex Hernandez.
The one that was the,
Gandara, she was on the council. She was on the council. Okay.
Mary Moore, not her head, she wants to be in the ethics committee. I'll nominate Mary Moore to get in there.
That's another one.
That's fine, I'll nominate her. Go ahead, you got it. Somebody in there?
Boy.
Just apply, you still have to be screened.
I'll do the Susan building. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Did I get your name
Maybe
right?
you have somebody? Anybody?
I agree with Susan. Susan. Grace, Palmer.
Oh, you're my buddy.
Susanna White.
Nominated by Ms. Villarreal.
Go ahead, last name, please.
Okay.
Building, right?
Susan Belding by Lena Ojeda.
Palmer, Susan. Grace.
Go ahead, man.
We need another original motion, just nominate. They got to apply.
You have to
Apply.
apply.
May I ask a question?
Let me just get to work with. You didn't have anybody, okay? We didn't have anybody.
May I ask a question?
Did Maggie have somebody?
In the past, wasn't this posted in the paper for people who were interested
Yeah,
to
that's
come in that didn't fill out the
Yeah, we posted
application?
it.
right.
We can nominate.
You can post them and you can nominate.
And then at that point, the council would vote on
Right.
those who expressed an interest.
Nomination. Posting.
Okay, yes, but we need to post it too, so they come in. Still,
How many do we have there?
1, 2,
Mary Moore and Susan Building.
Is that fine?
and this qualifies it too.
Roy wants to nominate Carol Taylor? No. Is that right?
She's coming to apply.
Yeah.
She's coming to apply.
Maggie didn't have that. Okay. On the P and Z, on the next one.
All right, on the next one, let me go ahead and, this time we'll close nominations. All in favor? Yeah, everybody close it. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The consideration possible action nomination appointment of citizens to serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Board Commission for the City Council, November 26, 2013. Action item. All right, let's start with Ms. Maggie. Do you have a nomination? Robert Trevino by Maggie.
We need one.
We need one, but they got to reapply.
Four Joseph.
Four.
We have four, right?
There are
Joseph?
four.
Yeah. And they're incumbent, nobody's, some just recently got appointed. Joseph.
Who's on this got one? Joseph?
Ms. Gander.
And Brander?
And Belinda.
Belinda Gonzalez and Esperanza Salcedo.
Esper. Esperanza.
Good record on showing up?
We need one more.
I've only missed one meeting in 5 years.
No.
Oh.
Oh.
Two of them are brand new. They've showed up to every meeting, but everybody else, yes, good record.
We just need one more?
I agree.
Okay, everybody should room. So nomination of anybody? No? Okay, nominations are closed, all in favor? Basically, comment legally.
And that's to fill the vacancy by Councilman Martinez.
Mayor, for the public to know, the applications will be in the city manager's office.
Yes, and you need to do this application.
Will the city clerk have some too, in case you're not?
We'll make some copies.
I'll be available.
Okay, you'll be available. All right, item K, they told me item K, I still read it out, but it will be a table item. except, and Becky will explain to us once I finish. Discuss consideration action to approve the conditional use permit requested by Jason Maldonado for placement of a 2014 manufactured home on his property, legally described as being Lot 9, Block 127, pure solid addition located at 415 South Peach Street, presently zoned in R1 single and two-family dwelling district. It was an action item, but was brought to my attention by our zoning director.
The reason why, it has to be tabled is because it was posted as a regular item, not as a public hearing.
Oh, not supposed to be.
So,
It was published, right? in the
it
paper?
was publicly tabled, but on the agenda,
It was public hearing first and then closed.
Yeah, Mayor, and I apologize for that. There was a miscommunication again from our city clerk. She did publish it, but she failed to notify me that, to put it on the agenda as a public hearing. So we're next tonight, as you can tell, we have a lot of business. Okay? And we're gonna continue to have a lot of business. And council and I overlooked.
Okay. With respect to the easement,
I'm not too sure exactly what he said I didn't publish.
okay. All right, let's, I've been hearing, let's just move back over, keep going. Let's do things right. All right,
I
table.
also want to ask, I don't know when y'all are going to meet next, but we're kind of like on press time. They've been
What's the
waiting.
first time?
Well, I guess if they don't, I guess by next week, or maybe, the people with the application, the customer, they're actually going to have to reapply if there's no action taken. I don't know.
Mayor, just to expand on that, they started this process back in March. Yeah. That's what I've been finding out, how things operate in City Hall. But, we should have moved it quicker. But we're at the point where I'm committed to help them, get that move forward.
There's also, there's that clause where after a certain amount of days, it automatically gets approved, right, Victor? We had this issue 3 years ago. 45 days. 45? 45. How far are we to 30 days? 30 or 45 days? We might have, they started a long time ago. Did they apply?
They have my, they have
Way past. There you go. April 16 here. March 31st?
Yes, that's when they paid for it. But see, what happened is when, they were looking at another mobile home, it didn't fit in the lot. So that's why it prolonged the item. So it was brought to the zoning board, in April.
When was the application?
The application was paid for in, March 31st.
So is that whenever it starts, Hector? Later. So then it's 60 days, roughly.
Way past the 45.
So, I mean,
It's automatically approved.
it's approved.
And what was the recommendation of the P and Z?
It was 4 and 1 against.
To approve?
Who was against?
Chairperson. Mr. Simmons.
It was only approved as a majority.
Yeah.
Can we still act on it?
Is it an action item?
It's an action item.
Yeah.
Well,
No, we were gonna table it because of the public hearing.
So if we just leave it alone, it's approved, right?
Take action on, based on the 45 days, it's automatically approved.
I'll make a motion to, based on 45 days. Is that based on?
Motion been made by Councilman Manuel Martinez and by the Planning and Zoning Committee to approve the conditional use permit based on the 45 days. That's limitation requested by Jason Maldonado for placement of 2014 manufactured home on his property, legally described as being Lot 9, Block 127, pure solid addition located at 415 South Peach Street, presently zoned in R1 single and two-family dwelling district. Do I hear a second? seconded by Councilwoman Lidia Rivera. Any other comments, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Okay, going on to item 9, continue going, item 9, executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, consultation with the attorney, Section 551.071, discussion, consideration, and charter requirements for recall procedures, including legal obligations and duties of a governing body. I know that it is an option item, whether to go, am I correct, Mr. Attorney? To go in executive or just do it here in open?
Executive or open it in open?
I say,
We're coming back to open and discuss it anyway.
so we just do it open.
Do it open? Do it open. This is item 10, open session, discuss, consideration, charter, travel, recall procedure, including the back. So just go ahead and brief us what's going on or where we at.
Mayor, as city administrator, it's my obligation to inform the city that we're revoking the rule under the attorney-client privilege.
I didn't know the attorney nor the client.
Okay. Basically what that means, we're not going to discuss anything that's privileged or confidential to third parties. So, I mean, just limited, what I can say is, the compliance, the charter, did you got that? Hand out on the charter?
Yes, you did.
Basically, just limited, just what's common knowledge out there. There's a procedure in 502. Okay. 501, of course, the people have the right to recall elected officials. That's 501. Yeah, yeah.
We can put that in the packet.
No, as long as we have any copies and pass it out there in executive session.
I think the personal attacks towards the city clerk needs to be.
Actually, I'm holding right now, I know it's on the defense, but as you know,
This is what I asked her to see it passed out. So basically, 501, citizens have right to recall the elected officials. That's in the charter. There's a procedure you follow 502, and basically, it's got A through H. We had a meeting with a couple of council members, and Mr. Aita, myself, city manager in there, and we discussed some of the issues. What we know so far is there's been compliance with B, as verified by the city clerk. Compliance has to be signed by qualified voters, 15% entitled to vote. And I think she certified 1,002 and sent copies of that certified to all the council members. Okay. Now, the attorney-client privilege has been invoked, so that's all we can talk about.
Victor, it seems to me that we're trying to prolong this process.
No, I think when we had that meeting,
But I think you were aware of what was happening.
Okay, no. Let me just clarify to the council. When we had the meeting, you guys wanted a special meeting, 17, to have that item on the agenda. What I wanted to do was go over the procedure. And both you and Mr. Councilman Martinez were fine with that. Now, the rest of the council, we'll have it. Whenever the council wants to meet next, that's the issue. The other issue is, okay, if they comply with all the requirements, we have options. The affected council members can step down, they can resign, no elections necessary. We can order an election, no, and then the third one is, if we don't order an election, then they can go to the district court and file mandamus. That's where we're at. That's all I can discuss. There's nothing about prolonging. It says, in fact, the city of San Antonio on the recall petition, when it's certified by the clerk, they got like 30 or 45 days after. This one, if you look at the certification, I think it went out May 30th or on that stuff, on the certificate. So we're well within that. There's nothing there that says you got to do it in the next council meeting. And our charter doesn't have a time limit on that. The city of San Antonio does. It went out May 30th, certificate, or June 10th, 10 days after, 11 days after.
So you want to meet with us still privately to discuss the process? Do we need to
that's all we're gonna do, discuss an open session, there's third parties involved, a lot of third parties involved. This is something attorney-client privilege, the rule has been invoked. The city of Pearsall is my client, not individual council members, not the city manager, the city of Pearsall. It's been invoked, and I can discuss that, it's privileged and confidential.
But if the council decides to discuss it openly, we already have it.
Open, yeah, but the privilege has been invoked.
Do we need to go ahead and fix it?
And then the next meeting, whenever you guys want to set an agenda item.
You can go back.
So should we go to executive session? Is that what your recommendation?
You guys didn't want to go in an executive
Or
session.
did we?
Okay, you guys were, I think Joseph was there, you guys were saying he was calling the DA.
So it doesn't matter to me if we do an open session. You know, why not let the public know? We want to be transparent. Let's be transparent.
I don't think you understand, Council, that the privilege is invoked, attorney-client.
I understand.
Who is the client? The city of Pearsall. It's been invoked. Not discussed with third parties. This is a legal deal.
Okay, the only thing I can say is, okay, we did revoke our, open session.
But we'll go on down, only out of courtesy and all that, that we do have, there has been touching bases with their organization or their chairman and all that, back and forth, and what's going on, or just when they turn in everything. It's just a question.
That's all we did was certify what they turned in. And we didn't make copies of those packets, right?
Yes, I did.
So we need it all those.
For city manager's request.
Right, make copies.
Make copies.
Give them copies. Give them copies so they can see this. We'll have another meeting.
I personally don't want those to go out. Not out here, because that has people's addresses on there.
You can redact some stuff.
Yes, unless.
It's public information and we have to redact what we have to redact.
Right. So I don't feel comfortable giving that out because the addresses are on there.
So when did you send that letter?
It was certified on the,
Who was it? I had
It
the
was
receipt.
We sent them out all certified mail to the council members and to the people that, the petitioners, the 5 on the petition. And Hector as well.
You get mine back, I never got it. You get mine back, or maybe I'll get your own, certified, maybe? Check on it. I don't know. You're not there, there's no data.
Mr. Lozano, do you represent the council as a whole or the city manager?
Very good. The city.
That's the reason why I asked that, because he invoked that we have it, so therefore we didn't. I mean,
He's the
if we
chief
didn't take
administrative,
possession.
he's the chief administrative executive officer, so the city has to vote that.
So he is able to invoke it, is what I'm asking.
Yes.
All right, let's move forward. Let's move forward, and I want to advise this, just make sure the committees, all come together, whatever y'all need to do.
The next, the duty of the city, the next agenda item, the duty of the city is, you know, if they comply with everything, then we order an election. If we don't, they sue us.
Okay, here's the taxpayers' money.
Let's go ahead and move forward, we know where we stand. Let's go ahead and move forward. Item 11, well, actually, do I hear a...
We've been in compliance. We are in compliance.
All right, moving on to item 11, approval to pay bills, action item. I think we're handed a package with all the payable bills, bills need to be paid. So look at them, look through them, see if you got any concerns, and of course, if Let's pay,
We did our job.
Hey. We need one time to report bills? Can you have a motion to approve the pay bills? Motion made by Councilmember West Trevino to approve of the pay of bills, seconded by Councilman Manuel Martinez. Any other questions, comments, or anything on the bills? All in favor? Unanimous. Move pay bills. Okay, next item, city manager's report. What do you got, city manager?
Mayor, Councilman, I just briefly wanted to tell you, to discuss what we're working on. We're going to work on giving the sports complex an additional 200 parking spaces in the back on the south side of the complex to move some of the traffic that parks on the road on private property and others, so we can make sure that our sports complex is safe, not only for the motorists, but for the players, the children, and the families. So I'm getting the departments working on that, so we can. We're also going to make enough room for motor homes to park in the back. That now people are using motor homes to visit the sports complex. So that's in the works. Another thing is some of that mulch that we have there has been there since. You know, I've been visiting Pearsall, and it just piles up and piles up. What the plan is, and we already covered it with TCEQ, the city purchased 5 acres in Caliche Pit. It's a hole in the ground. Somebody decided that it was going to be in the best interest of the city to purchase that property. We're going to try to fill it up with some of that dirt that we moved from the sports complex and the water facility over there. It's clear.
The mulch, did we give the mulch away?
There was a company that started picking up the mulch because we gave it away, but then they came back and said we don't want it because it's too dirty. It had too much dirt, too much plastics and nails and buildings, and so they didn't want it. So what do we do with it? We're just stockpiling it. I've got to move it. I've got to help the sports complex. Another thing is I found the sweeper in the garage. It's been there for about 2 years. We dusted it out. We cleaned it. We're going to start sweeping the streets. You'll notice an improvement on the streets. We're going to sweep them all. We broke the city into quadrants. And the quadrants, the sweeper is going to go quadrant to quadrant on a continuous basis. Okay. Another thing that we're doing is with this master transportation plan. Hopefully, we can give you a good plan so we can move forward with that. If anybody has any concerns, mosquito spray concerns, let me know. That way, I'll get a crew on it right away. And that's my report for now.
Yeah. What's the status of the YMCA, the attendance of the students attending?
My understanding from Posey, and I didn't get the numbers, I apologize, is that from team night up until yesterday, it had doubled the signage, the attendance. I believe they're up to 75 maybe? But I'll get you a better report.
I think they're just starting to figure out their, that they don't get some money. Money take over. Yeah, the waiver fees, yes. Another question, I know, TML has, a sessions for newly elected officials.
Yes.
I mean, they're very good, there's a lot from those. You know, I feel that, just the new elected officials, Mandito runs a lot too. You know, they're very, I mean, they're good. I mean, you pick up a lot of stuff, and help you carry out meetings, help you figure out stuff. That's very important. So look into that, I don't know, maybe think that you look into that and see what happens.
Even, for officials that are.
Yeah, leadership, there's leadership conferences and stuff. Because, you know, like I mentioned, you know, I went to a lot of them, and I learned a lot.
And you do. They're continuing education courses. And the good thing about it is we budgeted money properly and for those education courses. So if you have any questions, want to attend, just call me and we'll make sure we'll find the money.
I think,
It starts in July with TML,
July?
because there's one this month, but it's like next week.
There's one at the end of the month, from June 26th to the 29th. It's for city managers. And I will be attending that.
They usually have some leadership ones too for officials, so check on that.
another thing too, is I think there's an ordinance out there that for agenda items to be placed by Thursday. If we could receive the packets by Friday, because we receive them on Monday, and I want to say we agree that it's a very short notice to go through a packet.
Okay.
You know, per day.
Yeah, if we possibly can get them.
About that, Mayor, that was taken away from me. I no longer.
Okay, get them up, okay, thank you. Get them up.
Yeah, Mr. Trevino had a different way of doing things, but, you know, I'm working with him on that.
Okay.
Mayor, also want to clarify, I need to come up to the meeting, or I need to show up to the meeting, because I didn't get back in your phone. I didn't know nothing about it.
And I wasn't also necessarily.
Okay.
So,
Got it, okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Ask you a question.
Question one, and that's it. The first one.
You're gonna move hydrocarbon-based material, plastic and stuff into a pit over the aquifer?
I think he checked it with TCQ, no?
Yes.
He checked it, I told him to check
Yes,
TCQ.
and also,
I'm gonna do that.
and also our engineers went over there for soil testing, and they approved it. If you know anything different, please come to my office.
Yeah, let them know.
and tell us about it.
Anything at the railroad commission involved, water well drilling board, they have a lot.
Railroad Division?
Railroad Commission?
Yeah, on the water well drilling board.
Let them know and see what it is. Check on it, and then make sure that we compliance and all that before we turn it over. If there are not any questions, any other comments? This meeting is adjourned. Spurs winning, Spurs win.